another edition of Luminar Coffee Break. I'm your host, Manelli. Now, our topic today is Photoshop sky replacement using Luminar. So, keep in mind, Photoshop is a phenomenal graphics program. It's designed for graphic artists with some photography tools in it, whereas Luminar is designed for photographers or anyone who just loves to take photos. And inside of it, there are some graphic elements such as layers, layer blend mode, and so on. So combining these two together is amazing. If you're used to using Lightroom or Photoshop and that's your workflow, then use Luminar as a plugin. Take the complicated stuff that Photoshop can replace skies, but it's complicated. But if you use Luminar as a plugin, within one click, you can replace the sky, and that's what I want to show you. All right. Now, before we begin, we do want to thank our partner, Fujifilm. Thank you so much for helping sponsor programs like this. And for you out there, our listeners, if you like what you're seeing, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and to show some love and leave comments below. And if you have questions, we'll try to answer them the best that we can. And if you have ideas for future shows, let us know. But for Fuji, here's a quick message from them. Okay, and we're back. And guys, thank you so much for catching the sound. Earlier, we did an episode with Nicole Young. Phenomenal. She did Finding the Beauty in Nature, and we did this episode with her, so I had to lower my microphone, so now you should be able to hear me just right. And so what we were saying was we are going to use Luminar as a plugin for Photoshop, and I'm going to show you how we could use that in such a way to where we're going to use the power of Photoshop for the things that we need, and then use the ease and simplicity of Luminar. All right? And as I mentioned, I do want to thank Fujifilm. They sent the X-T3 with 3 lenses. This is a macro lens, a multi-purpose lens, which was like a 24-70, and then a telephoto lens. So this weekend, I have a couple photo shoots lined up, and we're going to have a little fun with what they sent us. So again, Fujifilm, thank you so much. All right, guys, let's dive right in. All right, so here I am. We're inside Photoshop. Well, let's go right into Luminar first. There we are. So we're inside Luminar, and what I want to do is make sure that the plugin is installed. So I'm looking at installed plugins, and sure enough, Photoshop and Luminar and Lightroom Classic are installed. Keep in mind, this is the default when we install Luminar, but for whatever reason, if you uninstall them or if you have a glitch or something, here's where you'll check to see if it's installed, and that's when you could reinstall it if you have to. All right, so now that I have it installed, I'm going to close out of Luminar, and we're just in Photoshop. Now, here is a real quick tip. When we're working in Photoshop and you're using filters, convert the image into a smart object. Now, by making it a smart object, we can start using smart filters, meaning Luminar is now non-destructive. So once we send this over into Luminar, we can make as many changes as we want. Once we come back into Photoshop, those changes are editable. So it's non-destructive. So if you notice here, this is a smart object, and there's a little dog ear. If I double click on it, it opens up a new window or a new tab, and this is a container. So inside the container is the original image and anything we put into that smart object. All right? So I'm going to close out of that. So here we are with it. And like I said, because it's a smart object, when I go to the filters menu and I apply Luminar, now it becomes a smart filter. All right? So Luminar is launched. Now, typically, looking at an image like this, I have a tendency of personally, I like to develop the image first. Notice I said the word develop. And when we develop the image, typically all the essential tools are designed for photographers to develop this image. So I look, and this image was shot, let's see, I'm clicking on the information button. Okay, it's not showing me. I know it wasn't shot in June. So I'm pretty sure I shot this almost like 10, 12 years ago. And I tried to bracket it and it didn't work. I wasn't quite good at bracketing. So this was one of the images I pulled from the bracketed series. Now, I like to develop it first before I get creative and add a sky to it. All right. So here we are. I'm going to start with my AI enhancer. Look at that. Already the image is looking good. Now I can go through all the tools that I normally do, or to save time, I'm going to click on the looks button. So the category comes up and I want to click on essentials. These are the tools I'm going to use anyways. So I might as well just use the AI image enhancer. So I clicked on that. Now I can make a decision. Is this too much, too little, or just right? In my opinion, it's a little too much, but these were the tools I was going to use. So instead of me going through each one of those individually, this is just a real quick shortcut. Use that AI enhancer look. Now we have it set. I definitely know those greens are the greens are killing me. So let's desaturate the whole image. That's good. Bring up the vibrance just a little bit, the vibrancy. And I'm going to turn it on and off so I can toggle the effect on and off, the tool rather. Let's see if there's any color cast. Yep, there is. That looks good. And for the advanced, now I can pinpoint the green, and I could change the saturation of the green, and I could even make it darker or brighter. I'm going to bring it in just a little bit darker. All right, now I feel more comfortable with it. But I'm looking, and this wood mill, or this mill, is still not exposed as I like it to be. That's good. So under the light tool, let's see if the shadows. Okay, that's global. All right, so I kind of push these tools past their limit, and I like where they're at. So what I want to do now is go to the advanced or the pro tools, and we're going to click on the dodge and burn. Now this is going to let me just paint a little more light, and since I'm using, let me pull it down a little bit. Since I'm using a Surface Pro Studio, I'm going to draw right on the screen itself. So I'll click Start Painting, Lighten, and let's lower that opacity down to maybe like around 20%. I'm going to come in and just gradually, now what you can't see is I'm just flicking just a little bit, just to get a little light in these areas here. And if I'm wondering if it's making a difference, I'll just toggle it on and off. Look at that. All right, I went a little overboard, so let's erase. Same opacity, just a little flick. There we go. One more. All right. Oh, good. And apply it. Great. All right, so we have everything all set. Now let's get creative with replacing the sky. If I had to do this in Photoshop, this would be a nightmare. You know, all the way in here. And this sky is not that bad. It's just a little distracting. So from the creative tools, I'm going to select the sky replacement. And I believe sky number 4 did the trick. Ooh, look at that. Good. Now, what I don't like about it is this looks, look at that. It looks like there's halos here, but in reality, it's the clouds. So I'm going to click on the Advanced button, and let's flip the sky. There we go. Look how incredible job it did in between the trees. Now let's look close. The sky looks a little too bright and a little too focused. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Let's defocus the sky, which means we're going to blur the sky to match the scene. Ooh, that looks good. And I'm going to expose the sky and make it just a little bit brighter. Let's see. All right. And I really don't want to relight the scene, so I'm going to move it down just a little bit. All right, so it's looking good. I still think it's a little too bright for me. So let's go back up here to color. And under color, we'll pinpoint blues. And there we go. Let's make it just a little brighter. There we go. All right. Now, it's looking good. However, I'm going to come back down to the advanced tool, or to the Pro Tools. And one of my favorite is the adjustable gradient. So for the bottom of the image, let's darken it up a bit. And then set the orientation down. Right about here. So let's toggle it. Good, ready? Look at that. It's on, or that's without it. Oh, look at that. See how it's bringing more attention up on top? Good. So I like where this is at. And you know what? I'm going to click on the advanced contrast. Let's play around. Let's pinpoint the highlights. Good. How about the midtones? I like that. And of course the shadows. Let's balance it. Right about there. Awesome. Now, we're dealing with wood, right? So we're dealing with wood. Let's come in here, and I want to go at 100%. So I could really see what I'm doing. Ooh, that's good. So let's add some structure. Oh, I like that. And you know what? This detail enhancer is definitely going to, oh, look at that. Add to it. There we are. All right. Toggle it on and off. Awesome. All right. And then I'll click apply. And now it's going to shoot over back into Photoshop. Now, while it's doing that, let's see. So my buddy Julie's asking, she has Photoshop Elements. Yes, so Photoshop Elements is supported as for a plugin. So you have that set. Good. Oh, yes. And thank you so much. Beautiful job with the flowers that you sent me. That was awesome. Great job. Great, and we're back. Now, do you remember what I said earlier about this being non-destructive? So if I double click again, so here's the situation. When we did this, it's back into Photoshop. Well, what if I wanted to make another change? All I need to do is double click on Luminar 4. It's going to launch Luminar again, and it's going to pick up where I left off. So a good rule of thumb is when you create a look like this, what you really should do is save it. Save the look before you exit out. So in case something happens, oh, we're zoomed in really good. In case something happens, you always have the look to fall back on. So let's say we're back here. Now I've already created this look, but we'll do it one more time. Save Luminar look. I'll do underscore woodmill. All right. And now I saved it. If I feel the effect is too great, we'll come up to the top layers and we'll adjust it, all the tools together. So I'm going to go to a negative or to 0, and then gradually go between 50 to 80%, right about there. Great. And then I click apply, and now it's going to take me back with the new changes into Luminar, back into Photoshop. And here's the key. Not only is it taking me back into Photoshop, the look that I just created can still be used in the standalone version. So do you remember there's 3 ways we could use Luminar? Standalone, as a Lightroom or Photoshop plugin, or as a single image editor. Either way we use them, any of the looks that we create in any of those 3 ways that we use Luminar are accessible to all ways that we could use it. So all the tools are together. So here we are, the changes have been made, and that new look that we created is automatically stored inside Luminar for us, it's stored on our hard drive, whereas Luminar has access to it. All right? So guys, if you like what we're doing here, let me do this. Don't forget to check out the skylum.com/academy. On the Academy, there's videos on getting started, lots of tutorials, written and video. And of course, we'll come down here. We have coffee breaks. So all the coffee breaks that we've been doing all this time are here, along with a new series called Behind the Scenes, which is a really cool series. And there's classes available. So this class right here, Nicole Young just had. Interesting, I should say it's over. And then coming up on June 15th, I'll be teaching a class on up and running with Luminar 4. So guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow on our Luminar Coffee Break.